Maren Morris says she's leaving country music because of the Trump era. I just have one question, though. When was she ever country? I hate to break it to you, Maren, but you kind of have to do it before you can leave it. Larry the Cable Guy posted on X the other day that ABC has a new dating show for seniors called The Golden Bachelor, airing on Thursday nights at 8, which is weird because the target audience goes to bed at 4. He's not wrong. Back in 2021, Patton Oswalt canceled his Florida Salt Lake City shows because the venues wouldn't require vaccination mandates. And my first thought after reading the article was like, who? FX has a new horror show called American Horror Stories. It must be about Miley Cyrus. If that's not scary, I don't know what is. John Fogerty came to Minnesota with a new song inspired by George Floyd back in 2021. Looks like we've lost him to the fake woke culture. I see a bad moon arising.
And that's a shame, too, because that's one of my favorite bands.
Oh, my Lord, I love that song. Vivek Ramaswamy creamed Ron DeSanctimonious in the first GOP debate, even though Fox will tell you otherwise that Ron DeSantis won.
I watched part of it. I don't think anybody won. Maybe Tim Scott. And
You
that's
know who-
only because he kept his mouth shut.
You know who really won? Trump.
Yeah, and he wasn't even there.
Well, he did a sit-down with Tucker Carlson on the same night, and while the GOP debate got up to 12.9 million viewers, which is still great these days for television, Trump's interview with Tucker got over 265 million views.
Proof's in the pudding, folks.
It's not clear. It ain't hard to see who won that. Speaking of Vivek Ramaswamy, he was in Iowa for a campaign event when a stupid protester attacked his car. He hit his car with his car, then he flipped in the bird and drove away.
It just goes to show you how stupid Democrat people are. I'm going to tear up your stuff by simultaneously tearing up my stuff. Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of one of those crazy ex-girlfriend stories.
There's usually some jealousy involved there.
Even though he claimed he was innocent to the cops.
Yeah, he's about as innocent as that dude that pulled the fire alarm.
Chris Christie in the second debate referred to Donald Trump as Donald Duck. Which was stupid for him to say because of this. You'll understand.
Hey, did you hear that Disney is coming out with a new woke version of Snow White?
Is it Snow White privilege?
No, it's called Snow Black and the Seven They Thems.
Hello! Thank you for joining the First Comedic Genius Show. I'm Dustin Willingham. I'm the host and creator.
And I am not Dustin Willingham. I am his older, much more handsome brother, Dylan, who is not technologically inclined at all.
So he's Dylan, and you run the famous...
Don't assume my pronouns, okay? You didn't ask me.
Okay, they.
Pronouns.
I'm sorry, they.
I have multiple personalities.
I'm sorry, they. I apologize.
I qualify as they, them. I have multiple personalities. Don't just assume my... Don't. This is...
Oh, that's what that means.
This
is
is
they, them. That's what that means.
I don't know. This is National Pronoun Awareness Week, so you need to straighten up here, okay?
Anyway, so you run the popular TikTok account, Patina and Politics. Let me ask you a question. Why Patina and Politics?
It's the two things I like best.
You like politics?
I find it interesting to listen to other people's viewpoints and then point out how stupid they are, but yeah.
It's always fun. So what made you want to start doing this?
My wife downloaded my TikTok account and said, look, there's cool stuff on here. And then I started looking and I'm like, yeah, well, there's also some dumb stuff on here. So,
well, yeah, there's a lot of dumb stuff on there.
Which is usually what I look at while I'm on the toilet. But Anyway.
We didn't need to know that.
Well, now you do, I don't know. I like doing stuff and showing people how to do stuff and showing people what I do for a living. I have a rather interesting job. It's not like a normal 9 to 5. So I feel like it's pretty neat and fairly informative half the time. And every now and then you get a dad joke in there sometimes. But I've got like I'd have to look and see. I got like 105,000.
Well, I know you don't. Like well, I know you only have about 105,000 followers, something like that. But I know that some of your videos have gone up to about 10, 11, 12 million. Some of them in the past.
I don't know if they went that high, but I had a few videos go into several million views. Yeah. And one in particular was a joke about Bubba Wallace when he found the garage door pull. Yeah, the garage door pull. That was a good one. It got to several million. One where I took a jug of antifreeze from O'Reilly's and paint matched it and actually made some paint that was the oddball goldish color. That for some reason, I don't know, it got to like 2 million views or something like that. I've got a bunch of videos that are in several hundred thousands and a couple million. And some videos you think will go somewhere, they don't go nowhere. And some videos are like, oh, well, I put about 2 seconds worth of effort into that, and then it hits 1 million views.
Yeah, that's another thing I've always noticed. Is it seems like the videos online that people do not put hardly any effort to at all, the ones that go sky high in the views, and then ones that people put work their hardest on, nothing.
That's pretty much how life goes once you become an adult.
I mean, that's kind of like getting a job, and then you and this lazy guy have the same job, but the lazy guy gets promoted, and you don't get squat.
That's a real scenario. Do you have a job, don't you?
I have a job. So, Patina.
It's not a woman's name.
Didn't I date her? I think I dated her once. Right. So patina, you a lot of people don't know what the word patina means. I know this is hard to believe, but it's true. A lot of people do not know what it means. Could you please describe patina for me? A lot of them are going to be liberals. Watch.
Well, the patina that I deal with on a daily basis pertains to the outside appearance of an older vehicle. Some paint wear and tear, a little bit of surface rust showing through. Patina can be on anything. It could be a piece of furniture, a weathered piece of furniture, which is real popular right now in the farmhouse type look. Patina vehicles is kind of like you take a 50s model car out of the woods and you do everything to it and get it back running and driving, and then you don't paint it. You leave it like Mother Nature made it, with some rust and paint coming off. And it's very popular right now. I'm sure it'll fade out, just like the paint did. It's probably a fad. But for a little bit, it's here to stay. So, like I said, I mean, patina could. The Statue of Liberty is technically patinaed. The Statue of Liberty is actually made of copper. And copper, real copper, if you've ever found an old penny, it's kind of green. That little bit of tarnish and oxidation on the Statue of Liberty is technically, by definition, is patina. It's a weathered outward appearance of an object or item. Could be an old house, like I said, a car, a piece of furniture, Statue of Liberty, a coin, an old silver spoon. It's tarnished. That pretty much sums it up. I don't know what the technical definition of it is, but I know that's my definition.
Wow, this redneck's smarter than I thought he was.
Yeah, well, don't give me too much credit.
I just now realized I look like a fat lard on this camera.
No, you don't look like a fat lard on that camera.
The blue collar shirt probably don't help none.
You look like a fat lard every day. It's not just on camera. But they do say the camera adds 20 pounds.
Well, that's true. It does. We'll get back to the patina questions in a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about the political candidates going in today's world.
If you talk about the good ones, it's going to be a short conversation.
Well, that's true. So what do you think about Ron DeSantis? He's been, Lord, I don't know. He started out good. I liked him at first, but now it's like, I I don't know.
I don't know that I dislike him. I mean, there's stuff I don't necessarily love about every political candidate, but not sure where he got the name Ron DeSanctimonious. I know Trump pulled that out of the air somewhere, but I don't know.
Well, he had a lot of nicknames. He's got a lot of nicknames there. Ron DeSanctus, Ron DeSanctimonious, Ron Disaster.
Yeah, and I don't really know where that came from because, I mean, I've been to Florida. My honeymoon was in Florida. Florida's a really great place.
Well, it is. I agree.
Most
it's beautiful.
of it, anyway.
It's beautiful. I agree.
A lot of it's nice. They got a lot of good things going on for them. They got some bad stuff too, I guess. But like I said, I don't dislike Ron DeSantis. I don't think he would be the world's worst candidate for.
Well, he'd be way better than Joe Biden. But then again, that's like saying a bag of dirt is better than Joe Biden.
Your pet rock is a better candidate.
I have a pet rock. Mm-hmm.
I'll get you one. Anyway, Christmas is coming up. Anyway, I
might send that one back. What do you think about Nikki Haley?
I think she's lost her mind. I think she was a good governor for South Carolina. She did a lot of good things for South Carolina. I don't think necessarily she's a bad person, but in my opinion and what I've observed, I think she's pretty much like the rest of them. They're so focused on being not associated with Trump, even though they were so far up his butt when he was president that it's not funny. I think they've lost sight of what actually made them decent politicians, if you could say that. Now that they're trying to replace him, I think they're all ganging up on him, and that's probably not the best idea.
Probably not. No, that doesn't hurt them. That don't help them. That hurts them. Their poll numbers are going flat. But it's interesting because Ron DeSantis, Chris Christie, Nikki Haley, Mike Pence.
That's another one I think's lost his mind. Is Mike Pence. I don't understand where some of. I mean, if it all of a sudden just Trump's the world's worst human being,
and yet he was his vice president.
Yeah, he picked you for a job, and he thought enough of you to give you a job, and you went along with it, and now all of a sudden he's just the sponsor.
Yeah, I mean, he went. And you know, it's funny because some of the things he talks about during the debates is the things that he accomplished under Trump, and I'm like, you realize that you're helping Trump by saying that, right?
Yeah, you realize that man gave you the job, and then America gave you the job. He gave you the opportunity, then America gave you the job. But I mean, we could get into a whole downward spiral, rabbit hole, wonderland deal of how the election went and should have went and whatever. But with that aside, that's kind of where I lost. I'm not saying you need to like pretend it's 1776 and overthrow the government or anything, but although that's a great fifth option, I think that's where a lot of people lost it, is when they started reacting to the way the election went and what was being done about it, and not so much boo-hooing and crying because Trump didn't win. It's the way they went about just asking the simple question of, well, can we double check? Whereas they wanted all these certifications done when Hillary lost, and they were boo-hooing in the street and setting stuff on fire and blah, blah, blah. That's acceptable, but when we just say, hey, look, okay, so he won, whatever, let's just double check because that just kind of don't look right. And I think all of them's reaction to the way that went was kind of what put the nail in their coffin for me, anyway.
Well, you know, and it's interesting. Another big thing that's hurting them is that Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, Chris Christie, Mike Pompeo, who a lot of people didn't even know was in the race, and because he hasn't campaigned, he hasn't been a part of the debates. I haven't seen him do any interviews. They're all for funding Ukraine.
Yeah, and that's another sore spot with a lot of people. You're either, I mean, I don't want the people of Ukraine to like blow up and die. And
of course not.
I don't think necessarily they deserve what's happening to them, but I don't think that's also America's problem either. Why are we sending billions and billions and billions of dollars of stuff to another country when we're trillions of dollars in debt to other countries ourselves? Where are we getting these billions of dollars from? And what are they doing with it? Like, if I'm going to give you money, I would like an itemized receipt. I provide itemized receipts for my customers on work that I do on their car, so they know exactly where every dollar of their money went. And yet, we're just handing them money and walking off. That's no different than giving money to the hobo at the corner of Walmart. You know, hey, I need some money. Okay, here's $5.
They're just going to use it to buy booze.
Like, here's $5. Go in Walmart and get drunk. Like, how, you know.
I don't care. Go get drunk.
I would like to know where my money's going. This why a lot of people don't donate to charities, is because you don't know where the money's going or whose pocket it's going in. You know, you give them $5 and they're giving 5 cents to little Timmy over here who needs a heart operation. You know, so I think that's another reason why that Tunnel to Towers thing does so good, is because a lot of people donate to them and they'll tell you exactly where their money's going, and it's like 97 or 98% of every dollar goes to exactly straight to where it's supposed to go instead of in somebody's pocket.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that. You know, Pizza Hut started doing drags books for kids. Yeah.
Damn, I was going to order a Pizza Hut pizza on my way home. I guess I won't.
But you know, and I like Little Caesars because it's cheap. But you know, a lot of people. But you know what I like about Domino's is that if I give them money, they're partnered with St. Jude. I know my money's not going to anything stupid like that.
Yeah, they're not getting sex chain operations.
Yeah, I mean it's going to St. Jude, so
yeah, and
that's a noble cause.
That's a worthy cause. Rather, all of the money is going there or not, they're getting something out of it.
Right. I mean that's a noble
better
cause.
Than zero. Yeah, it's like Firehouse Subs. You know, you give some money to them, they give it to first responders and whatnot. However much it is, I don't know how much it works out to be, but at least it's going somewhere that's halfway decent. And we're not, you know, paying for sex changes for Middle Eastern goats or something, you know. But anyway,
that's a sheep. Stupid idiot.
Anyway, so that's kind of where I'm at with it, you know. But yeah, I was really going to order a pizza on the way home because it's right by my house.
Oh, well.
But, you know.
But anyway, going back to...
ruin everything.
Yeah, they do. And I can't believe the woke crap that's been going on. You know, and I can't believe stores like Target. Target went woke. They went woke. They had transgender clothes for kids. Target lost $30 billion, like, right after that happened.
I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I, in any way, cannot tell you what you can and cannot do in your personal life, especially on your own property. But that's kind of the last thing I want to see when I walk into Target to get some.
Well, you know, and another thing, I know the cast of The View has talked about this a few times, defending it, saying, "Oh, well, they're not standing up for the trans people; they're backing down because people are upset." But they didn't even take it out of the store; they just moved it to the back.
Yeah, but, I don't know why we have to stand up for all these people. Why don't you just stand up and say, I'm for, you know, humans and this...
Well, you know what bothers me? They know that this crap is going to hurt them. I mean, where do you see yourself making a ton of money off this? They lost over $30 billion.
Well, I don't, and it's regional. I mean, you know, because I'm sure it didn't go over too well over, you know, where we're at here in South Carolina.
Oh, my Lord. And
in places, you know, like California and New York and
well, yeah,
big states, you know, like that, then it probably went over just fine. And you had a couple of disgruntled people, and they're like, whatever, you know. But I don't have to shop there. If you're going to sell it, fine. I can't tell you can't sell it, but I don't have to shop there. You know, I don't shop there anyway. But
well, what I think is interesting is that you see all these things going woke, and it's like you know that's going to hurt you. You know that conservatives have the majority. Jason Aldean's Try That in a Small Town. It was number one. What's the name of that man that came out with that song West North of something? You know what I'm talking about? That dude, yeah.
Oliver Anthony.
Yeah, Oliver Anthony, yeah.
Rich Men North of Richmond.
Yeah, that's it. And he got number one.
He's doing pretty good with that, I think.
He turned down a lot of...
he just had a baby. Or he didn't have a baby. His wife had a baby. You know, because men can't have babies.
Right, right.
His wife just had
What's a woman?
Baby. His wife just had their baby. So that's pretty cool.
Well, you know, what I think is interesting is that you see all these So those were the two number one songs of this year. Those two made it to number one. John Rich released a country album on Amazon Music and iTunes, The Country Truth. One of my favorites on there is I'm Offended. I love that song. I play it nonstop.
I've heard that a time or two. Yeah, I've got a hat that's got try that.
I saw the music video. Mike Lindell actually made an appearance in it.
Yeah, I did see that. He was
My Pillow.
Yeah, I know who he is, but he was giving out. He might have been giving out pillows. I don't. Pillows to cry on or something. I don't know. How would we get offended by a pillow? Like,
I don't know.
You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. I'm also entitled to think you're a Fruit Loop.
Mike Lindell got dropped by Walmart, Target, Kmart, Costco, Bed Bath & Beyond. I mean, I don't even know what to say to that.
I say adios. If you don't want my stuff, that you can make money off of something, a good product, then okay, whatever.
I mean, they know that that's the stuff that's going to make them the money. We've shown it time and time again. Sound of Freedom was the...
That's a big movie.
That was number one. That was number one. A conservative movie.
I haven't seen it. I need to go see it. That and the Duck movie.
Oh my Lord! Yes. The Phil Robertson story. The Blind. Yeah.
I watched the Treasure.
I actually went to go see it. It was a great movie. It was very inspiring. And now some Hollywood studios actually rejected the film because they felt it was too controversial.
What's controversial about an old dude that likes duck hunting and Jesus? The Jesus part, or the hunting part, or
but
old white dude.
And some theaters have even refused to play it. But get this, even with some theaters refusing to play the movie, it is number 4 right now. Number 4 at least.
I'm not saying that we need to have some kind of hostile takeover because, I feel my opinion is important to me. Your opinion is important to you. Whatever. Gavin Newsom's opinion is important to him. It's probably him only, but either be that as it may, we all have our opinions. We're all, entitled to do and say and like whatever we want. But that's kind of the whole point of. I have the preamble to the Constitution tattooed on my arm. You don't like what I like. That's cool. Fine. Whatever. Can you be a decent human about it? Some people can. Some people can't. I don't hate people just because they're different than me or whatever. But I don't think that yours stuff should encroach upon me. I think I should be able to do what I want. If you want to do what you want, fine, whatever. But those that it affects in a negative way, you need to look at that and address it, and say, hey, look, I can be different than them and still be a human about it, But yeah, if you don't want to play it, if you don't want to sell a product, or you don't want to service a certain group of people, don't.
Well, Willie Robertson...
We really don't care.
Well, Willie Robertson, when Duck Dynasty was still on the air, he said in the movie God's Not Dead that...
I didn't see that one. I saw that.
Because he made an appearance in the movie, and one of the lines in that movie was, if you don't want to watch the show, just change the channel. Yeah. I'm not trying to offend anybody.
You're paying a ridiculous price for cable. You got a bunch of channels. there's something you can watch.
And I remember that on Last Man Standing, that's another popular show that did well among conservatives.
I liked it until they recast it, and then it got weird.
It was a little bit off.
I can't watch it after I'm used to watching all this.
It was still a little funny. But Last Man Standing, so Tim Allen, he did a show. It was Last Man Standing. It was on ABC. It ran for a good bit of seasons. It got canceled, oddly, and Tim actually did an interview about that, and he said he didn't know if politics had anything to do with it. I'm pretty sure it did.
I would say so. Have you watched the show?
Oh my Lord! But he according to him, ABC did not. He does not know for a fact if ABC pulled it because of that.
I'm not saying they did. I'm not saying they didn't. But I'm saying that whatever their decision ultimately was, that had a part of it.
But so Tim Allen, they did this show, and I remember one of the I forgot it now. Shoot, I forgot the line. I was going to quote a line that he said.
There was several funny lines in there, especially one where he was taking all his daughters to go goat.
Oh yeah, I remember. So he was interviewed shortly after that. The show got canceled, and so the show was number 2 on cable television. It was number 2. Big Bang Theory on CBS was number 1, and on the number 2 show on ABC was Last Man Standing. There was the number 2 most watched show in America. So why you up and pull it? Because 2% didn't like it?
If we keep bowing down to people that don't like stuff, then we're just going to be permanently on our knees and we're not going to have anything.
I mean, it's like, well, we got 98% of the people to watch it, but 2% didn't like it, so I guess we're just going to get rid of it.
Since when do the wants and needs of the few outweigh the ones of the many?
Well, that's another thing.
Why are we bowing down to minorities that don't like the same things we like? Like you said, if you don't like it, turn the channel.
Well, and that, I don't know, but I do know this, that he was interviewed shortly after the show was canceled on ABC, and they asked him, and he was asked on a talk show, I don't remember which one it was, and he said, I don't know, but I had a conversation with ABC, and they just said, well, we're just going a different direction. And he said, where was that, the toilet?
Yeah, that's just like, typical.
And then Fox brought it back, because technically Fox had owned it in the first place. Why it was on ABC, I have no idea, because 20th Century Fox owned it. So Fox brought it back on their network. And then it ran for about a season or two, and then Disney had bought 20th Century Fox, and then they owned it again.
So I think part of that is just how the typical way that things go. You get a good thing going, and then you just squash it.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish 20th Century Fox had never sold out to Disney. I kind of wish they had never done that.
That's corporate takeovers. It happens every day. It's happening right now with our favorite radio station.
Earth FM of Greenville. Yeah. Craig DeBoer.
That's a whole
Action Jackson.
That's a whole other situation. That kind of sucks.
That's.
But it just happens. I mean, you got something really, really, really good, and then you're like, okay, well, we're done. I mean, that don't mean you can't replace it with something better, but I think you ought to try that before you can the one that you got. But I don't run TV stations. I don't run radio stations.
Well, I'm just saying, and that's another thing with Generation Z is that most of them seem to think that the world is ran by the minority and not the majority.
Maybe right now it is. That's not how it's supposed to work.
That's not how it's supposed to work. That's not a democracy.
I'm not saying that certain minorities don't have a valid opinion, but crying and pitching a fit and stomping up and down like a child in Walmart is not necessarily the way to go about doing it.
No, not really.
And setting stuff on fire and looting and beating up people and doing all that stuff is definitely not another way to do it anyway.
Some of these kids were never spanked. That's the problem.
Well, that's got a lot to do with it.
I was at the grocery store the other day. I saw a man talking to his kid, and he said, no, we're not buying that, and he was holding a toy. And he got mad and threw it at the father, and the father did nothing. Nothing.
Well,
he threw it in his face. He did nothing.
As a father, I can sort of relate to that. You don't want to make a scene already that's kind of bad. You don't want to make it worse. However, if my child's in a store and she's pitching a fit for a toy, well, she's just 2. I'm probably just...
Well, your child is young, though.
I'm probably just going to buy it.
This kid was probably 7. I mean, that's way too old to be pitching a fit like that.
I'm probably just going to buy it and go on. But if for some reason she wants something that we're not... for some reason she wants something that she can't have or doesn't want, whatever. I'm not going to just let her throw it at my face and go on about life. But I'm not going to sit there and beat her senseless in front of a whole bunch of other people. So, I mean, there's ways to deal with that, and I mean, I can see both sides of it, but, a 7-year-old pitching the fit for a toy.
Yeah, that's too old.
No, you could say, hey, I'd like to have his toy, and you say, oh, no, we don't have the money for that, or we're not going to buy that, or whatever, and then they're going to get upset, or whatever, but if they're perpetually in their terrible 2s, that's your fault.
Yeah,
as a parent.
That's a bit
You can discipline your children. You don't have to beat them senseless, but you can discipline your children and have them act like normal humans and not uncaged monkeys. But then again, I'll get called a terrible parent for saying stuff like that. But my child will be sitting there behaved, and y'all's will be on the 7 o'clock news.
Well, so getting back to the political candidates, I wanted to discuss some things by you and wanted to get your opinion on it. So in the first debate, Chris Christie compared Vivek Ramaswamy to Barack Hussein Obama. What's your opinion?
I would have probably just slapped I would probably have just smacked the taste out of his mouth right then and there. Because I wouldn't want to be cussed like that, especially not on national television. Just because he's got a strange name and he's not, well, he's from here, but he's not, his family lineage is not from here, does not mean he's Barack Obama. I mean, he would not be on a Republican stage if he is Barack Obama. I've heard stuff he said. I don't keep up with him a lot, but I don't think I've heard anything that's come out of his mouth that is even close to that mess.
Well, and in the second debate, Chris Christie referred to Donald Trump as Donald Duckwood. What's your thoughts?
He's one to be calling people names. I mean, he's the one that closed the darn bridge so people couldn't go vote. Like, don't be pointing fingers at you. There's plenty more pointing back at you when you point one at somebody else. So you're just trying to get some fame, and you're definitely going to get it if you walk out and start talking about how bad Donald Trump is, especially when you're a Republican. Because most people are probably just going to jump down your throat. And Lord knows his is probably big enough to swallow everybody on that stage. So I would probably, and I don't really know where he gets that idea from, because Donald Duck is...
Well, I didn't even understand it. It didn't make no sense.
It didn't make sense to me, and if somebody can explain it to me, let me know. But I'm assuming it's got to do with the fact that Donald Duck, if you watch Disney Channel cartoons, Donald Duck is easily fed up with stuff and just starts making random noises and gets slightly incoherent, which is probably what he means by that. But if anybody's incoherent, it's the mess we've got in there now, not Donald Trump. I've always understood every word he's ever said, but I don't know where he's getting that from.
Ron DeSantis, in the second debate, I believe it was, and I believe it was in the second debate, Ron DeSantis said that, but he basically he said that Trump set up the inflation that we have now. What's your thoughts?
I would like to have somebody explain that to me or read me the numbers. I'm not familiar with what he's talking about. I think he's full of crap.